Good morning, everyone, or afternoon to the East Coast people. I'm excited. I'm always excited to get a chance to talk and share some things. I'm going to share my screen a little bit, but I actually want to see your faces a little bit, those whose faces are here. I want to have it a little bit engaging. Um, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the date was when I did the AI talk 6 months ago, 7 months ago, but it's been a whirlwind of a year for me, and I don't know how it's been for you. And I really think that next year is going to be even more. So the first thing I want to start off with this idea, I feel like there is a huge gap in people's perspective about AI, their awareness, their understanding of what it is, and how there's a huge difference. And again, I do want to preface when I say AI, for the purpose of this talk, I'm talking about generative AI, not the AI that's been around for 50 years, because AI isn't necessarily new. But what is new is this generative AI that generates, that creates, that talks to people, talks for people, that you don't have to be a nerd to use. You don't have to be a programmer, a developer. Anybody can use it. And so that's what makes it fascinating and exciting for me. I'm not a programmer, technically, I'm not a developer, but I'm using it in so many different ways. So just want to preface that's generative AI is what I'm talking about. But this gap, I mean, like on Facebook 2, 3 days ago, this lady that I know, she has a writing, editing business, a couple of different publishing businesses. And she made a comment, I think on one of my posts on Facebook saying that, the more I use AI, the more I realize it's not going to replace me. It's not going to do what I do, but I really love it for research and ideas and brainstorming. And so I saw that comment. And so my initial comment was like, I asked her, like, are you connected? Like, how do you learn? How did you learn how to use AI? Like, are you in any groups? Have you any courses? Like, what's your experience? She's like, no, I'm just doing it on my own. So that's her perspective. It can't really do too much. On another end, I'm in a group where I think it's this weekend, people are paying $30,000 per person to learn from these AI copywriters, how to write video sales letters and kind of really, really high-end perspectives on using AI. And they're paying $30,000 a person because they know that the way they're using AI, it's blowing away what these people who make millions writing copy is doing. And so it's funny, the gap between what people use and what their experience is. So with that, one thing I want to point out to, and Sean mentioned that, he's going to invest more into it next year. I really want to encourage you to invest. You have to invest in not just playing around with it, not just time, but I want to encourage you to invest into groups, into communities, into experts, into people who are using it. You have to invest into it and commit to it for yourself, for your company, for your business, because there's a gap. Because depending on who you're around and what you hear, you don't know what it really can do. And I know you're all busy. You all have your businesses, your lives, your families, and all these different things. And again, things are not going to slow down. And so you're not going to get more time to spend with AI next year unless you commit to it or you invest in a person or a community. Again, if I can help you, doesn't have to be me, but I was just thinking, like, again, the last time I spoke about AI, again, 6, 7 months ago, I told you all, I think I told you I had written a book using AI. I read a book. It took me 4 or 5 hours to write it really didn't take long. It really took 2 hours, but I purchased a course back in March, I think, from some marketers to learn how to write a book, write a whole sales campaign, email, follow-ups, videos, Facebook, social, 30 days of content, and run it online. I did that in March. So I'm like, I bought that. I sold that to a couple clients. I wrote their books. All that's done. 2, 3 months later, I purchased another course of a person who was using AI with SMS. Only if you know, in 2016, I had a company, I built chatbots for a living. That's what I did. I did conversational marketing, chatbots using Drift, ManyChat, Messenger, all the different stuff. And that was my initiation into You can call it AI, you can call it chat, you can call it conversational marketing, conversational AI. So I was doing that back then, and I saw this guy, instead of using logic, if-then statements to run conversations, to nurture leads, to have sales conversations, they were using AI to facilitate. So you didn't have to tell your marketing platform if this and then that. They were using AI to do it. So I bought that course back in, I don't know, March, April. So that was, and I'm in those groups, and people are there in solar, they're in all kind of lead gen, and they're saving so much money running sales campaigns direct to SMS, direct to Messenger, and it's like they're like reactivating old lists of databases of leads that they, I assume they're opted in. But I was involved in that. So again, my experience is with these one marketers back in March doing books and selling books, and again, getting leads in that way. Then I was with another marketers in lead gen who are running SMS campaigns, all powered by AI. That again, that's just making them so much more money and saving them so much time compared to the average person. Because again, I don't know everything myself, but I have invested. I think this lady in June, there's a lady who used to work at Facebook or Meta, and she was in their AI area, the research area. She went on her own and she created a group, and it's AI. It's all about AI operations. How do you bring AI into your company and your operations? How do you think through it? And I'll share some of that today. So again, I invested into that community. Again, people way smarter than me. They're showing me things, and that's where I get a lot of my knowledge and understanding. And then I mentioned the AI marketing group. Again, that's the copywriters that are charging $30,000 for their event this week. I think it's in Miami. So I'm in that community. I bought into that. So I just wanted to preface that anything I share, like, I like the stuff, but I'm not that smart. I'm not that into it as much as you may think, but I do invest. I do spend money into groups, into people. And so I'm learning from them. And of course, I know more, way more than the average person. But if you don't have someone who can either invest for you or work with you, and again, it's not just engineers, it's not just developers, it's not just that aspect. There's a lot of practical opportunities. So I just want to encourage you with that. If you leave, you have to commit to getting with some people, join some communities, and start coming out with your own personal projects. I think I want to say one of the big things that I think we're going to be able to do is take your own intelligence, your own wisdom, your own experience, the way you think. Eventually or soon, if you can begin to train your own personal AI that thinks like you, that understands your values, that understands your decision-making processes as an individual, I think everybody is going to be able to benefit by having that. And if you read any of my emails or see my posts, I've been talking about AI to amplify your genius, about again, AI is going to be smarter than you. So I think you need to make it your partner and spend time. It will take some time to partner with AI and get it to work for you so that you can do higher level things. You can think on different levels of projects. You can think more strategically, and AI is going to be it's going to be able to do things for you personally. And of course, it's going to be able to do things in your business and open up opportunities. So that is my intro for this talk. So what I want to do next as we get started, I would love to just start off with a couple volunteers. If anybody is willing to share something that they are a project or a problem that they have been trying to solve with AI, generative AI. I would love to know if there's anybody what are you doing? Anybody doing anything or trying to figure out something? I want to start off with your thoughts, and then I'll get into some practices on how to find use cases and how to use it and employ it and plan for it next year. But anybody willing to?
Hey, Arvell, I'm using it in a very simple way because I'm working on my critical thinking book, which I know by your voice, I should have had it done months ago. But anyway, I don't necessarily want AI to write the book for me because I am very passionate about the content, but I am using it to help me generate examples. So if I want to give an example of how, assumptions are used, or if I want to give an example, those always take me a while to think about what an example might be that I'm not using in my speaking already, which I don't want to do. I don't want to duplicate the ones that I'm using. So I I put that into AI to help me generate those different scenarios that I use for the book. And it's very simple, but that's what I use it for.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have, and even if you're not using it, what do you want? What's your dream situation? What do you wish you could stop doing? Go ahead, John.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone. Beautiful people. I just, there's twofold, actually. We're using it in laying it on top of our call center for inbound, a way for us to triage calls and kind of go through more of a check down on services or a check down of wants, and then, you know, sending it off to our call centers that would service the particular ask from a client on an inbound call in. And the second thing is we built generative AI to do some top of the funnel marketing. So, you know, looking at and scrubbing all the, you know, data parameters, whether it's a LinkedIn database or whatever it is, and finding the right match and then loading it in and then doing first call out to those particular prospects is what we're building right now. So trying to take over the prospecting funnel side of the funnel for our organization is what we're looking to use generative AI for right now.
Awesome.
Now that more companies their platforms are open source and more extensible, and we can actually now layer in that generative, you know, genome into the environment, we're looking to find ways to kind of help us in that process.
Awesome. Is that B2B prospecting?
Yes, 100% B2B. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody got just dreams? Again, what would you like to stop doing? That's where I want you to begin to think about. How is your life busy? What would you like to just not do? Yes, you could go to Upwork and find somebody at $9 an hour, but what's something else? Yeah, Rob, you got something?
Yeah, so this is a ripoff of Seth Godin. Seth Godin created one that's basically what would Seth Godin say, and it's all of his work and thought. And internally for our company to be able to do that for any one person, what would Rob say? What would Eli say? Like inside of our company, to be able to interrogate using Slack and AI without having to go to the person. Half joking and half not for many of you on this call, I kind of wanted to create that for 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀. Like what would Ross say? And not about our company, but like the industry or business advice, like taking all of his content and also thinking through then legally and carefully how to, you know, make sure that I'm not worried about the AI of 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀 hallucinating, but I am worried about it not cross-contaminating advice that's either not applicable or confidential from some other information.
Awesome. That's a great idea. I had lunch with a person 2 days ago here in Phoenix. He has a direct sales organization and he's getting super busy. He's got a downline. I don't know what his role is. He has another company. He's just buying into it. But he was talking about how busy he was. I was like, there is no way, I could create that for you. So that may be one of my side projects. I'm going to create his sales support and coaching AI for him personally, just to demonstrate for him that I could do it so that I could replicate it for his downline and resell to his downline, to their downline. But that use case is very, very, not easy, but it's a very, very doable use case. When I was writing books, again, 6 months ago, one guy, all we used, I didn't really use AI to write the book for him. I used podcasts, YouTube Lives, Facebook Lives over the course of 2 years. And I used that, and all AI would do is edit it, extract it, pull out the key points. And I just found it in my Google Drive, and I was like reading it. I was like, this is really good. But it was his ideas from his podcast, YouTube conversations, and that was all AI edited and compiled. It wasn't AI written. So, but definitely, so that ability, that technology, technically, I was looking at TCPA World the other day and like, you know what? And I think I already started a process of getting ideas, creating, if it was public, just to see if I could create some bit of summary on what is written in there for the purposes of just pinging, scraping, you could call it, TCPA world, just to get some ideas for myself to reference. Anybody else got any projects, dreams, wishes they were thinking about? Again, don't think AI, just think your life, think of your own, because that's the key. That's the part where people get stuck. Because I was going to show you how I can make an AI that looks like me. I don't know if you've seen this before. It looks like me, talks like me, sounds like me. That's done. They already have those out there. And if you didn't know me personally, you would not know it's me. They already have that. I was going to show off this. I can show off all kind of fancy stuff. But the problem is that doesn't relate to our lives. And that's why I don't want to and we get lost by just looking at all these sexy and shiny objects, but we're not realizing what we actually need. So that's why I want you to just really think about, Chad.
Wait. So you're saying you can make a version of you that's AI based that can sit on like all of my Zoom calls? What do you mean that's not what we need in our life? Tee that up and let us know how much we need to pay for that. All day long. I can have my AI 100%. Just acting like me. Yeah, I can live with that. No, seriously though, but I would love to see that. I bought an insurance agency in August, and we're just standing that up. My partner in it is 30 years experience in the insurance, has a licensure. We're coming in 50% owner with the marketing and customer acquisition. And I've been working in the insurance industry, generating, prospective leads, customers, consumers for almost 10 years now. And now we don't want to build it the old way. So we're using AI right now with text messaging, right, to do our texting and communication, and we're getting ready to build it into an email as well, so that when people reply to our outgoing email, the AI can actually respond via email and then drive them over to either a live chat, a call with an agent, or text messaging, whatever the best way to interact and engage. But it doesn't create more interest. It just engages interested consumers quickly and expensively than using our human resources. We want to figure out how to use it to generate more interest, right? Versus just back end support when someone's raised their hand. How do I use it to get more people to raise their hand, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, 100% what Chad said.
Yeah, that's a good.
I just really quick. I just wanted to my CTO told me the biggest thing that we're doing right now is using that same, using generative to train in onboarding new agents, new personnel to the company, kind of driving their workflows for them, almost like coaching them. So we're using them for, video modalities around, training and everything from compliance to workflow to, to coaching, sales initiative, all that kind of stuff. They actually have created videos, and then the AI, which is more generative, is the interaction between the agents that work for us and the tool itself getting smarter at answering questions and walking people through and self-generating its own training modalities around things that people have questions on. So, in the instance of how to use Slack, or when to use Slack, or internal communication stuff, where to find documents and things of that nature, as well as, daily checkings, the 5-minute micromanagers and things of that nature to kind of increase productivity. So the things that we're building in. And the live agent component that you were talking about, Arvell, is a big piece of what we're doing. We actually have a couple studios here on campus in our office, and they've been shooting a lot of, facial recognitions, things that we can use where we can break down the facial recognitions and use training, and something about the familiarity, I guess, of when a person goes online or they pull up these agents, basically these avatars, they feel more connected and much more actionable because they feel, somehow, some way that they're being driven by live body. It's interesting. It's an interesting experience. Is that enough? Oh, yeah. Okay, I said it. Sorry, guys.
Awesome.
He says that's the cool stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So if there's nobody else, I'll go ahead and start sharing. Sean, please.
So Arvell, because I see all the experts came in, and
John came in, sat back and said a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to go a little bit more simplistic.
Yeah.
What I need is anything that can help me get more time. So when I think about overall sales and just engagement, I'm thinking about the fact that, we all have these, CRMs, and to be engaged and try to get more prospective clients involved in what we're doing. But the fact of we just don't have enough time to write that email, to sit back and find ways to engage with them. Is there a way that we can use an AI system that can connect to an existing CRM program to sit back and say, okay, fine, we know that every 3, 5, 10, 15 days, we want an email to go out to a prospective client talking about XYZ. In essence, can we train it to work with a CRM program that can do all of that? And once the person actually engages back, we're able to kind of take over from that point of view. Does that exist right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And what would you say? And what CRM is there? Only particular CRMs that you would recommend? That I'm not aware of.
Yeah, I'll follow up with more, offline, but there's definitely, AI for SDRs or business development, especially for email and contacts. Yeah, I've got a whole list of options for that specifically, that can, as far as nurturing, coming up with ideas, coming out with content, working through your database as far as prospecting and things like that. Yeah. Definitely, yeah. I'll get back to you. Yeah, but that's a known, very common use case. I will say with Chad's talking about how to make your campaigns produce better, how to get higher conversions. Two things come to mind. Again, the people that I know that are really into this, they're using, because AI is so smart, and you don't know what's always going to work. You don't always know what's going to get the customer's attention. The fact that you could do 100 times more ideas, 100 more videos, 1,000 more videos, your creatives, that process of, because it's all testing, it's all data. And that's one thing that AI does good. Besides you can make 100 or 1,000 times more production in your creatives, so that when you distribute it and send it out to your customers, because most people that I know that run Facebook ads or social media ads, because of all the pixels and data privacy and all those things that have changed over a couple years, they don't tell social media ads and they don't tell it what to do anymore. I don't know if you know that. Most ad buyers don't specifically add in demographics, psychographics, trends, all those things, because those are restricted in most social media platforms. In other words, what they do is what you can control is creative. What they do is they allow Facebook and Google and their AI to determine who actually wants it. What they do is they'll send, again, hundreds or thousands of ideas at it, send it, allow the algorithm of the ad platform to decide and pick up the trends and figure out which is getting the most clicked, which is getting the most stops, which is getting most attention, which is getting the most highest views on those creatives. So they're the platforms are making the decisions as far as what works or doesn't work. What you can do, what you determine, is creating more and more and more volumes and more ideas. Again, in your internal process, that's what AI can do. It can help you to 10x, 100x, and while cutting the cost of coming up with ideas. But again, I'll share more about ways of thinking through your marketing with AI in a minute. So, but that's one thing that comes to mind, was how do you get the higher conversion rate? How do you use AI to get higher conversions? And one other thing, and I'm going to share my screen and I'll just get into just a couple. I don't have a lot of slides, but I have just a few things I wanted to share. Let me do this. Now, again, I do want to, I'll probably end at least 10 minutes early. I don't want to go the whole time unless we need to, but I know how to use Zoom. I'm smart. 1 second. Let's see. There. So I just put a few things together that I want to go over with you. So again, if anybody wants to connect after this, if you don't have information, there's a few people here I don't know. So definitely go to arvellcraig.com/links, and that can give you some links to me. Again, for those who don't know me, for my day job, I work at a company called 𝗃agents. Technically, we have two AI products, 𝗃agents and 𝗀𝗲𝘁. Both are AI solutions for call centers. 𝗀𝗲𝘁 is a QA that listens to calls. Again, so it's using generative AI. It's not a if then this. It's not a live QA. It's a post call. So after your call is done, if you have a person that manually listens to calls, 5%, 2%, 1% of your calls and listens for specific things, our AI is generative. So you tell it to look for look for this, look for whatever, and it takes the transcript and scores the calls based upon that. So that's 𝗀𝗲𝘁. And then 𝗃agents is an AI that makes phone calls, that does kind of like what John was saying, does the warm transfers, but it's generative. It's not a, it's not an IVR. It's not a push this button or whatever. It is a conversational AI that talks to people, listens to them, figures out what they want, qualifies or disqualifies them, and then sends them on to licensed agent. So that's what I do for the most part. Those are two AI solutions. I also do speaking and then partnerships. But that is, in short, that's me. So for the basics, the way I look at generative AI, it's AI that generates content, code, counsel, and conversations. And of course, the content, text, audio, video, and it can do anything. Code is software. So if you wanted to write some software, you don't have to know how to write software, even though if you do know, you can edit it and you can be certain that it's of high quality. But AI can write code and software. Somebody just sent me a PDF file the other day, and I took that PDF file, and currently with ChatGPT, you can send it photos. So I say, take this photo, turn this into a website, and ChatGPT can take a PDF or a Word doc and turn it into HTML, CSS for Word. And that's little simple things I do. Counsel, anything that you don't know, AI knows it for the most part. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't use it enough for. Let's say you want to read a book. Lately I'm rereading classic books from Think and Grow Rich to Essentialism to any book that's been out in the past 100 years. You could learn it. You could read books, but you could also ask AI or ChatGPT specifically, tell me about this book. Give me 5 points about this book that relate towards my goal. I've used ChatGPT to say, take the book and turn it into a mind map so it can visually create visuals based upon what I'm trying to learn. My daughter is doing some kind of algebra that I don't know. So I will use my phone, take a picture of her homework and where she's stuck, upload that picture, and ask ChatGPT, help me to figure out what we don't know, where we're not getting this problem right on this quadratic equation or whatever. And then my wife has been doing Excel. I'm using it to teach me Excel stuff that I don't know. Anyway, so just wanted to highlight some of those uses of it as your counselor, as your coach, as your consultant. It can help you do things. And anyway, I just find that fascinating. So that is AI, right? And so there's a lot of different types of AI or generative AI. I mean, Amazon has one, Facebook has it, but for practical purposes, there's 4 main models or brains that you can use in your business and life. ChatGPT, of course, is the most popular. And it's the main one we'll probably get into. Secondly is Claude, which has some advantages when it comes to words, writing, research papers, large documents, depending on what you're trying to do. And Dala, you can look at the Claude has some advantages in that sense, and in its writing capability, the size and breadth and you could put entire books into Claude and it can help you. Bard, which is Google's. Again, Bard I never use Bard, but I want to mention it because in the next 6 months, it is very likely that Google's AI, which is going to be combined with all Google Docs, your Gmail, your email, everything you're trying to do. We talk about having a CRM, nurture people. It is very likely that Google's Bard is going to be integrated so much in Gmail and Google Apps Google Sheets, all those kind of things, it is very, very likely that it's going to have that. It's going to be just built into its brain. You don't have to find some new software that solves some problems. As Google Bard gets smarter and it's already integrated, if you give it permission in your email, in your spreadsheet, in your whatever, it is very likely that it's going to be a major player. I'm thinking in 6 months, because it's combined with everything you already have in your YouTube and whatever. So I just want to mention that. And lastly, I'll mention Pi, which is completely different than these other three, but it is purely empathy. It is, I know people who talk to Pi every day for months as a counselor, as a coach, as an encouragement, as support every day. So Pi is completely different. It is built for personal, mental, empathetic encouragement and support. But these are the 4 main models I'd say that are out today that have value, that if you wanted to play around with it. Anyway, just wanted to share that. And something. So here's the thing I want to kind of highlight as we kind of bring this to an end. So ChatGPT, again, is the main version of generative AI that's out, that's most connected. There are thousands of third-party tools that connect to ChatGPT to do anything you could imagine. That's like I said, to me, the negative part is that sometimes it's overwhelming. So therefore, we don't know where to start. But it is a fact. I mentioned AI can create code, right? So if you're a developer, AI can create AI. AI can create anything. So there's tons of, there is a solution to almost any problem you can imagine. And then I have here established software from HubSpot to Salesforce to Google to Microsoft to anything that you're using online. It's like Zoom. Zoom has AI built into it. Everything is going to have some AI integration with it. That's just a fact. And then the third thing I put on here, which is custom GPTs, which I actually want to talk about. To me, that's the one thing that's kind of fascinating and new, that I definitely want to make sure I take some time to help you understand what custom GPTs are, because there's something that you can do with that is very practical when it comes to bringing AI into your business, in your operations, to save you time and save you money. So couple last things. So have any of you read the book, The Goal? It's from the 80s. Probably not. Anybody know The Goal? It's a classic book. The main thing is that it was written in the 80s. It's sold over 10 million. I found that book in the summer. I read it years ago and I just got back into it. I was listening to an audiobook from the author, but he made this comment saying that technology can only bring benefit if it diminishes limitations. And the reason why this quote is fascinating to me is because AI, to me, AI, generative AI is so powerful, it's so fascinating, but people aren't getting benefit from it. They just don't. I found there's a gap between what it can do and how people are benefiting from it. And Eli Goldratt talks about this in his book, in a sense that it's like it's changing the way we operate as people, and we have to learn how to, again, find specific problems, find where you're stuck, and if you can figure that out, then you can get the benefit of AI. And one thing, and the guy passed away, but his son was in Phoenix a couple months ago, and I went to see him, and I asked him, how does AI relate to some of his philosophies? It's a business management philosophy. And in short, he told me, find out where your customer is stuck. Find not just what AI can do for you, because you've got all these kind of problems, but think about your customer journey. Whoever you're trying to serve, whether it's the buyer of your leads or it's the consumer that you're running your marketing from. I do think that the buyer might be the biggest constraint, but I want to kind of give you something to think about. Think about where your buyer or your biggest customer, where they feel limited as it relates to your business or service. And think about, how can I apply AI in my business in a way that removes a limitation from my customer? Is my customer worried about my leads being valid? Is my customer worried about the consent? Are they worried about, where they, was it their name that the customer clicked? So I just want to give you to think about this. Instead of thinking about AI, or in addition to thinking about AI helping you do things better and faster, think about the market that you serve and where your market might be stuck. And normally the limitations are normal. We're used to dealing with certain limitations. Your customer is used to waiting for certain things, but I want you to just kind of brainstorm with your team, if you can, how can AI make their lives easier? And you might find a better use case by removing a limitation from your customer than simply removing the limitation of your own internal processes. But let me, I'll just let you sit on that.
So, you know what, Rob, Arvell, I actually have a question for you in regards to AI. And again, I'm still reading through some of the FCC regulations that just came through yesterday. But this might be for you, or even maybe for Rob, or maybe even for for Mike. Can we use AI in regards to, like, how can we use AI to address any of the things that the FCC just talked about? Or is the ruling kind of anti-AI because it's still technology, or there's no effect that AI could have to help our lives? Any feedback on that?
Is that for me?
Sure. You're one of the experts by far. Why not? Do you know of anything that, how can AI help our lives dealing with, just to address the new problem or the new issue that we're dealing with?
I mean, to be honest with you, the new issue with the FCC and matching isn't really a massive change for lead generators per se, in that it just moves the matching engine up the funnel, and it gives the choice to the consumer. So yes, that can be a big change, but from a technical standpoint, there's not a whole lot that's really different, and Matt can speak to that too. So from an AI perspective, I'm not entirely sure that it would make it, it would do anything other than, maybe there's some learning capabilities to optimize based on data from buyers, feedback and consumer feedback, that you can better show what companies should be shown to the consumer. But that's a weak answer for you.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing, but one thing, because again, I think the technical part.
Understood. And Arvell, I see there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Yep. Can you hear me? Is it breaking up at all?
No, Arvell, this is Terrence here. I have a philosophical question, because everything that I heard about AI is more, do more, become more efficient. On the opposite side, is there a Buddhist version of AI where it allows me to do nothing and stay still? Dead serious about that. And oh, by the way, Sean, thanks, man. You're looking good, man. Can't wait for the next record to drop.
Yeah, I'll just state one thing with Terrence. I do agree that if you read anything about AI in the future, again, if you think it can't do what you're doing, you're not in the next 5 years. I think in 5 years, you need to plan for the fact that it can do everything you're doing. So what you will do with your time and energy when it can do everything you're doing automatically, that's the philosophical place where we need to prepare for, reevaluate our value as people. If your value isn't by what you do, but who you are, because when AI can do all that you're doing, I think we're going to end up being more human, more connected, more empathetic, because all the technical stuff is going to be done. All the technical automation, anything you do is going to be automated, can be automated. So that's where I think things are going to shift. Rob, I know you got.
I do, because I asked that question in all seriousness, because you're talking about the lack of adoption. then you're asking people to sign up for more work. I mean, at the end of the day, no one wants to do that. So the approach would be, okay, you're going to sign up for more free time. Okay. And then now the question is, are there any implementations that you know of that are out there that you examine and look at? Of whether individuals or systems?
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up. I didn't hear the exact question.
Yeah, Terrence, you're breaking up a little bit, but we'll circle back to that.
Yeah.
Rob, you had a question, and I saw you put something in the chat as well.
Yeah, so just want to answer your question so that this group heard it. So the current FCC ruling does not touch on AI and does not prevent AI. However, the FCC in parallel is actually running an inquiry specifically on AI and robocalling and robotexting. Comments are due on Monday. Their first letter will come out in January. So they are thinking the same way you are thinking, Sean, and that they're not unrelated. Part of this is it's unlikely the FCC would forbode AI. It's more likely that they will forbode certain uses of, just like to protect Fair Act and lending, to protect non-discrimination acts, right? So it is more likely that they will map AI, just like they did to DNC, to current fairness policies. And I'll put fairness in air quotes for everyone, their view of fairness. So more coming on that. And then I will just speak to Terrence, which is, I'll just give you my, AI is not going to run the world. We humans are going to run the machines, including AI. So we have to build the frameworks for more free time. And we have to build the companies and the cultures and the policies, whether that's 3-day work weeks or other things. There are movements afoot, but those even predate this wave of generative AI, which is left to our own devices, capitalism will have us work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's up to the humans that run the capitalistic machines to decide how to break that cycle. And it ain't easy, but it's going to take more conversation, because otherwise that's the way the pendulum will swing without us pushing back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob. No, that's fair.
So, yeah, I got 2 slides I want to share before we go, but I do want to share one thing again, Sean, to your question about the FCC and this. I would challenge you all to think about, how can AI get buyers to spend more money with this. Again, it's like, that's the issue. It's like, am I going to use AI to get better leads, to change my lead generation, to change my funnel, to change my bottom of the funnel activities, which is okay. But I would challenge you to think about who's actually, the universities that are spending money with your business. How can I use AI to get them to trust me more, to pay me more? How can I bring them more? How can AI help me give them more value so they spend more money with me? To me, that is a bigger opportunity. That's a bigger question. Because again, more transparency, more data, more analytics for them, more. I would go that way. And I think you could find a bigger opportunity in that B2B direction with AI. Bring them, be so different than all your competitors that even if the pile is smaller, bring so much more value to them that you create a moat around what you bring to the table, because you're leveraging AI for them, than just trying to increase your lead generation and tweak more. And that's the game everybody's playing. But that's where I would direct your strategy, and maybe spend the next 12 months to come up with an AI strategy that gets people more cities. If maybe you got that agreement with New York City, your bigger opportunity is leveraging that with AI. How can I find another 5 cities in 2024? That's where I would consider looking that direction versus improving your funnel. But anyway, so
appreciate it. And just let you guys, I know that you're showing us 2 more slides. Before everybody leaves, I do have one announcement about our next meeting, so please hang on. Arvell?
Yep. I don't know if my whole thing just crashed on me. I don't think it crashed. Again, it's not, the main thing is, if I can't even find it, when it comes to marketing, there are, and I'll put it in the chat here. When it comes to how can I put AI in my marketing, there's like 5 stages that you want to think about. One is, let's say, planning is one. How can AI help me plan, right? Number 2, production. I got the plan. Now, how do I produce? How do I write the copy? How do I do the production with my content, with my strategy? Number 3, there is the personalization. How can AI make this copy, this content, all this stuff I'm doing more personalized for the individual? Okay. Number 4, how can AI help me to promote, right? It's not just creating it. I can put it in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different platforms. How can I increase promotion with AI? It's already produced. I'm doing it faster, but I'm also going to personalize it to people specifically. So it's going to get their attention better. But then I'm going to increase promotion by where it actually goes. And then lastly, there is the performance, the metrics. How can AI optimize? So these 5 P's are the different categories where I would think through if I'm going to add AI in, specifically in marketing. You know, pick a use case, you know, next year, and you're going to think through one of these, you know, again, which of these areas is your slowest? Are you not planning? Are you not strategic enough? And how you're thinking about your AI, and I'll show you one thing, then I'll be done. And this is one thing I mentioned earlier, that depending on who you talk to, depending on, are you investing into, like, some people use, you know, like we write prompts into AI to get it to do stuff. Tell me about this, right? So you think about planning or strategy. This is a prompt to help you to come up with a customer avatar. So I don't know what when you write in ChatGPT, or when your team writes in ChatGPT to come up with something, give me some ideas, right? This is an example of a prompt to get a ideal customer. All this goes in ChatGPT. All this. This is one prompt. All this. Give me their fears. How do their fears affect their relationships? What are the things this person might say? What's their age? Whatever. Give me 5 dimensionalized outcomes for this person. How would AI, you know, how would this outcome affect their, this is all one prompt. I just want to show you the difference between how you work with AI. Is going to be a huge difference between what results you get. I think, where does this, and this, that's where it stops. So this is, I don't know what size font this is, but this is a 4-page prompt. This is one prompt into ChatGPT in order to get it to come up with a buyer persona, right? So this is an example. I just want to show you the vast difference of how a person uses just ChatGPT as it is now, same thing in Claude or any other AI. So if your team, if you're not aware of how to talk to it in this amount of depth, there is a huge difference in what you're going to get from it. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to share that as an example in the planning, in the strategy stage. Anyway, so that's an example.
So Arvell, can you, again, do you feel comfortable sharing this? Is this okay to share or no?
This one specific prompt?
I would love to send out this prompt, because again, just, you know, for everybody who maybe is not as savvy, to give them somewhat of the guidelines behind how to build a successful prompt might be great. So let me know. If I will shoot it out to everybody. That's okay.
So yeah. Again,
so
I'll So,
and I appreciate it. So Arvell, thank you so very much for, you know, helping us come full circle with AI. There is still so much we can see that the growth area compared to when you first talked about it to where it is right now. Again, in the way that we should be utilizing it in our lives, and, you know, making it a part of our, you know, I'm not saying every day, but at least weekly, monthly, a part of our overall company strategies as well, just to make our lives easier, if nothing else. So thank you so much for, you know, for doing that. And again, thank you.